Oga, forget your cry. Bring down the price of cement and beverages in Nigeria. This man contributed, they're talking to Dangote now, this man contributed to Nigeria's hardship. This one said, has he cried for so many Nigerians by hunger? How about those people that he's He was at the peak of his career in the military and he died in some kind of questionable circumstances. And I was there with him in the house when he died. Now, military people came to the house. They were all over the house, outside, inside, armed. They were doing their investigation and they were asking me questions. They were asking me questions, I was answering, and I started crying. And guess what happened as soon as I started crying? A senior military officer, a general, two-star general came with a look of disgust on his face and like, what is this? What's this about? Why are you crying? You were here before, you were not crying. What kind of fake tears are you crying? He called my tears fake. So Nigeria's billionaire Dangote was seen on national television crying for his friend Herbert Wigwe.
It is really very difficult to find another Herbert. I owe him an eternal debt of gratitude. An eternal debt of gratitude.
Rich man die. Another rich man cry for him. Nigerians they vex. Poor man die. Another poor man they cry for him. Nigerians too they vex. Nigerians, what can satisfy you people? After seeing that video, Nigerians, rather than mourn along with Dangote, saw it as something to rejoice over, saw it as something to be happy about. I mean, they were like, oh, good for you, wow, and I hold on. Now, these are some of the comments I saw under the video that was posted on one of the blogs, Tunde Ednot blog. This man contributed, they're talking to Dangote now, this man contributed to Nigeria's hardship. This one said, has he cried for so many Nigerians by hunger? How about those people that This one say, the guy died with Dangote money. This one say, his partner in CRI don't die. Oh, sorry, oh. He will miss the backdoor transactions. Oga, forget your cry. Bring down the price of cement and beverages in Nigeria. This one said, as a man don't die. What's as a man? As a man is like the person who picks up money for Yahoo boys. This one said, wealthy people don't want to see one of their own die. If poor man die, who go cry for him? Wigwe was his realest G. Not only know how much, then don't share. And we always share if he was alive. May his soul rest in peace. Crying on stage for showmanship while putting millions of Nigerians in weeping and sorrow with high cost of inflated prices on goods and causing many homeless. You dare stand there to cry? Cry about what exactly? Una heart bitter. Na people wey dey fall for una pity card games, I dey pity. Dangote money day in hand, referring to Wigwe. His words were touching, they really had a lot together. Dangote, your keeps crushing innocent almost on daily. How many times have you cried? Now, I'm not going to read every comment here because there are hundreds and hundreds of them. So Nigerians are celebrating. Nigerians are happy and at the same time being sarcastic that Dangote is crying over the loss of Herbert Wigwe. They're not happy that Wigwe is dead. They're happy that Dangote is crying. Like, good for you. One of your associates, all of now they help, they press the neck of Nigeria, don't die. So why you not go cry? Some are even saying that the tears are fake and all of that. That's what they're saying. Now, if you really think that it's good for Dangote, go and sit down, your tears are fake and all of that. If you think that way, I would want you to come closer, come. Now I'm waiting for you, just come. When una go get sense? I'm not insulting you, I'm like, when una go get sense? You see this thing that you guys did to Dangote, you see this response, It's not because it is Dangote, that's why it's getting it. This has become a norm in our society. In Nigeria, we want to dictate to people when to cry, when not to cry, when to fall in love, when not to fall in love, when to get married, when to have children, when to mix with people, when to go to school, when to buy a car, when to build a house. We want to dictate everything to people. Now let's focus on when to cry and when not to cry. If you've ever lost a family member, and you've not realized this, I'm sorry, you're lucky. I've encountered this multiple times. For every time I've lost someone in my family, I've always seen some kind of inhumane response from people that are supposed to be consoling you. Who am I? I'm not famous and all of that. I'm not Dangote, I'm not a billionaire. My point is, the response that Dangote is getting, the cruel response, the response that is lacking of human sympathy that Dangote is getting is not limited to Dangote alone. It is a norm, it is a response that we have become accustomed to, that even the poor gets it from us. As a matter of fact, the poor gets it more than the rich. The cruel response, the inhumane reaction that always comes. I'll tell you one thing. In 2000, I was in the University of Ibadan. Now, I got the news, we were not using phones then. I got the news that somebody in Warri, because I'm from Warri, you understand, I got the news that somebody had passed away. And in fact, he passed away a week earlier. Because there were no phones to communicate, I did not know until my sister wrote a letter, and somebody who traveled to Warri traveled back to Ibadan and gave me the letter. Now, I saw the letter. I read it, and it said, Mavwine has died. He died in a car accident, October 1st, 2000. I saw it, I read it, and I was like, so bad. Too bad. And that was it. That was it. I did not cry. Believe you me, 4 hours later, when I was going home at the place I was living in Challenge, Ibadan, in a bus, a commercial transport, I just came to the realization that this guy was never going to be seen again. He's gone forever. And I busted into uncontrollable tears right inside a commercial bus. I was crying like a baby in the bus. All the way from University of Ibadan to Challenge, I was crying. I got there, I was crying and crying and crying endlessly. What am I trying to raise here? In my own self, I've realized that whenever something tragic happens, I don't respond immediately. I respond much later. I just lost my father last year. For those who know me, I did not cry the day I heard the news, but the next day morning, I cried like a baby, endlessly throughout the day. And while I was crying the next day, people that were calling me, some of them were laughing at me. They were laughing at me for crying that my father, who was over 80 years old, had died and I'm crying. They found it like something to laugh about. I'm just trying to point out what ordinary people do to themselves. It's not about Dangote now, the kind of things we do to ourselves. I mean, my own father died and my friends, some of them were laughing. They said I was crying over the death of an old man. Oh, he's an old man. It did not matter if this old man was my father. To me, he's all I've known as a father. I mean, I'm emotionally connected to this man. You that is not emotionally connected to him, you're dictating to me. You're telling me it's not something to cry over. You attend a funeral now these days and you see a young woman of 32 years old who has lost her husband and left 3 babies behind, and you see somebody trying to force her, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Excuse me? She's the one who just lost her husband, not you. She's the one who's going to be sleeping alone in a bedroom with 3 kids to take care of, no extra money and all of that, not you. And you want to determine when she's to cry and when not to cry. We always want to be the one to decide for people when to express how hurt they are. This idea of always wanting to dictate to people when to mourn and when not to mourn needs to stop. It is what has become a norm that is being expressed with Dangote. It's not really about Dangote. You think it's about Dangote? We do it to ourselves. We that are not famous, we that are not as rich as Dangote, we that are not even as rich as the bank manager nearest to us. It is something we do to ourselves. April the 5th, 2017, I lost this family member. He was at the peak of his career in the military and he died in some kind of questionable circumstances. And I was there with him in the house when he died. Now, military people came to the house. They were all over the house, outside, inside, armed. They were doing their investigation and they were asking me questions. They were asking me questions, I was answering. No single tear on my face. I wasn't crying. I mean, this was like 3 hours after he had died. I wasn't crying. I was just there answering questions. And then one military man who was so close to my family member came and saw the corpse of his boss, who was my family in the military, and just started crying like a baby, just burst into tears, uncontrollable tears. He could not be consoled. And me looking at him, something sparked up in me. And I just came to a realization that boss, big boss, the biggest name in my family is no more. Like the helper of my family is no more. I mean, it took some hours for me to come to that realization. And I started crying. And guess what happened as soon as I started crying? A senior military officer, a general, two-star general, came with a look of disgust on his face and like, what is this? What's this about? Why are you crying? You were here before, you were not crying. What kind of fake tears are you crying? He called my tears fake because I wasn't crying at first, and because I started crying much later. I have a history of delayed crying, and it's so with many people. But to this man, fake tears. He didn't lose a family member. He went back home to meet his family. My family has never been the same again since then. You understand? My point is, we always want to determine when a person should cry or how a person should cry. Where did we learn that from? How barbaric is that? What kind of thinking is that? No, really, what kind of thinking is that? Where's the human sympathy? I'm making this video just to let you know that you're not in any position as a human being to tell people when to cry or when not to cry or how to cry. You're not in any position. The only thing you should do when a person is grieving over a lost loved one, please empathize, sympathize, feel their pain too. Say words of encouragement, say words of love. That's all you need to do. And that's the reason I made a video about losing a parent in Nigeria. You can check the video here. Just click on this link, you can check it. If the link is not showing, come back tomorrow, it will show. Always be slow to respond if somebody's grieving over their lost loved one. Always be slow to respond. If what you're about to say, type, print, has nothing to do with you consoling them or words of encouragement or words of love, shh. Keep your mouth shut. Dangote specifically said that Wigwe was a friend, brother, and mentee. What does that mean? Pick out the word friend. Dangote is a rich man, a billionaire. At that level, you're going to have few real friends. Okay? And we're the ones at the bottom, we always advise ourselves to have people who are on the same level with us. So what is wrong with having a real friend that is on the same level with you at the top? There's a way you get close to somebody, the person turns from friend to brother. You all have somebody like that. For the ladies, there's somebody that says turn from friend to sister. It's the same way for rich people. And Dangote was only expressing his pain for the loss of his friend who has now become a brother and a mentee. And yes, he did not deny that Wigwe played a role in the advancement of his business. He did not deny it. But then, what do you have friends for? What do you have partners for? It's the same thing we do at our own small level. So why are we mad at him because he's richer than all of us? Come on, people. We can do better. If you still don't agree with me, please leave your opinion in the comments. I would like to hear and learn. But please, my primary purpose of making this video is just to let you know that it is not our business, it is not in our position to dictate to people when to cry and when not to cry, how to respond to death of a loved one or how not to respond. It is not our responsibility. The only thing we have to do when somebody loses a friend, a brother, or whoever they are, is to show love. Show love and say words of kindness. That's what we owe them. If we cannot do that, if we cannot show human sympathy, if we cannot express love to them, then please, shh. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content from me. My name is Nev Harrison. Until next time, bye-bye.